They're from start to finish, and even put the keys in the palm of my hand. I give them an A++ for customer service.
Oh, it's people from housing bad, boy.
Boy, not bad. Excellent. If you're thinking about constructing your home, why not consult the Housing Authority of Grenada? You could visit them right down in the Sandino complex, or give them a call, 440-1015 or 440-1016, or check out their website, hag473.com. They go handle you. They go jog your blocks, they go draw your plan, they go tote your materials. Hey man, where you going? The Housing Authority of Grenada is your choice for affordable housing and a stress-free construction experience.
Inspection and licensing continue. And at Hubbard's, we want you to be ready. From February 16th to March 31st, we're offering vehicle owners with single registration letters 2,501 to 5,000 and plural letters from 251 to 500. It's your turn to get 11% off new torque tires and Power Max batteries. Don't get caught unprepared. Visit us today at our motor department at Mountgate and the Tire Bay in Grandance, located next to the Hubbard's Building Supplies.
Welcome back. It's Beyond the Headlines for the 24th of February. And of course, we welcome our viewers on Facebook and also our listeners on K105. A little late for the greeting, but nevertheless, we know you there and we're happy to have you. We will be opening our line shortly, but just before that, Mr. Andall, one of the issues that has led to a lot of the tension within the labor movement had to do with the gratuity and pension issue. Where are we with that?
Well, that matter, we expect, will be determined by the court. There should be a hearing sometime early next month, and we would see how that goes. This represents one of the greatest injustices that exist now, because longevity is a source of financial insecurity. And we have in our country a number of persons who would have given the required, and in our workforce, a number of persons in this public service would have given the required amount of years and probably could have been going home now and making way for other young persons who are seeking employment. But because of the uncertainty regarding pensions, some of us have to stay on in the service for longer than we really would like to. And that is a major concern, because we have persons who are still with mortgage, but who may want to retire because for some of reasons, the stress and rigor of the job, and would have done the required years, 26 and 8 months, but cannot retire. And that is a real injustice, because we have in our system where we have almost a discrimination against persons on the basis of the date of employment. And that, to me, is grossly unfair.
One of the things that I've been puzzled about, and gentlemen, you all help me out here. When this issue came up, there's been a lot of talks from the legal fraternity, from the union, that this matter is a constitutional matter. I have never understood then, if it's a constitutional matter, why did the unions enter into a negotiation with government on pension and gratuity? Could you help me?
Let me come in here, because
yes,
as the then leader of the Union and Staff Association, I can speak with absolute authority on this. Following the ruling of the court in relation to the Hamlin-Armstrong matter, the leaders of the labor movement, some are no longer around today, would have engaged the government, both parties on this matter. Although the court ruled, there were different positions on what that means for everybody. Taking into account that both sides recognize that the court can take forever, because already Hamlin-Armstrong matter was ruled on, yet still, in the mind of different people it had different applications.
Different people meaning who?
Well, the government, the unions, different people who have interest in law. We decided, and I'm taking responsibility here as one of the leaders, that what we want at the end of the day is pension and gratuity for our members, so that they can retire and have something to go home with, and even that lump sum. And therefore, the parties agreed that rather than taking a legalistic approach to the issue, we'll take a negotiated approach. Because many times it is felt that when you go to the court, you're at the mercy of the court. Not only at the mercy of the court in terms of what the final result may be, but how long it may take. I mean, a number of persons in this country will have experience with that. And that was the guiding principle that led to this discussion. So it was felt that once we are able to ensure that our members receive that lump sum payment, which is a gratuity, and get a pension from government, then this would be good enough to satisfy the issue that was plaguing our public sector workers who are retiring without that government pension. You see, that was that was a guiding, you asked, that was a guiding principle. However, as Comrade Marvin have said, this issue is not before the court. But because you asked a historical question, I'm just giving you the data, the details. The fact that there was a reneging on the government part, and it is something that we will maintain from now until when, has led to where we are. Because when we went to the court on the Humlin Armstrong matter, it was not just about Humlin Armstrong. I want to repeat. Sister Humlin Armstrong was that brave soldier, that brave person who was willing to go to the court. Because the advice that we had at that time was that you needed someone who was directly impacted. Although I must admit today that there are varying views. As people lend their mind more and more to the issue, there are different views on this as to whether or not someone, because this is what is contended before the court now, that the unions are taking up the matter, as to whether or not someone who is outside of being directly impacted can get the court to make a determination that public officers are entitled to the pension as per the 1958 rule.
Yeah, I understand that, and if I understand it well, I'm not a legal person, but generally when the court makes a ruling, cases that follow, they go based on precedents, on previous rulings.
But that's our view. That certainly was our view, but as I've indicated, the other side had a different view, and that is why the issues came up. And recognizing that there were a different view, if we could have found that path that would have allowed us to achieve the pension and the gratuity. Because the pension and the gratuities are two of the matters that are most visual. But there are a number of other factors as to at what age can you go and receive your pension or your gratuity. There are about 3 or 4 or 5 different laws governing the different groups or workers in the service. So we had agreed that on the pension and the gratuity, we will negotiate it and resolve that. And that is what we signed in the MOU. On the other aspects, I want to repeat, and we know that the people who had represented government in that negotiations are totally and fully aware of what we are saying.
Okay.
The other aspects as to at what age, if you leave after 26 and 2/3 years of service, and you leave at age 50, would you be entitled to start receiving pension? This was not yet settled. We agreed that these now will form part of a wider discussion. Because the main thing concerning the workers in the public service that we represent had to do with the gratuity. Yes? That was once we were given the assurance, and it's kind of, as Marvin said, we have passed that stage, but I'm answering it. Once we have passed that stage, of tying down that gratuity. That was one of the key factors for the people of Grenada.
Okay, so we have a caller on the line. Let's go to our telephone. Caller, good evening. Good evening, caller.
Hello? Hello?
Hello.
Good night.
Yes, good evening. How are you?
Yeah, good night to you, Mr. Good night to all the gentlemen there.
Good night.
Let me first say that I think that the discussion is going fairly all right for the time being. But I heard Mr. Mason said something which I don't think totally agree with. He said that every worker that goes to work willing to work or goes willing to work, and that's not quite true. A lot of times people go to work and they're not willing to work, or they're not prepared to work, and the unions are aware of that. And times when the unions do help or try to get workers to cooperate and to do what is to give a fair day's work. For instance, I can say that for TAWU, I have been a member of TAWU for years, and I know that TAWU always used to preach a fair day's work for a fair day's pay. And when you go to work, you should do a fair day's work. So I'm aware of that. But there are times when management, when persons in management do not do a good work among with their workers, and there are times when the union doesn't do. So it's a vice versa thing. There are times when the union is at fault, and there are times when the management is at fault. People do want to do what they want, don't want to obey management, and there are sometimes when past management are a little bit too tough, and there are times when the union doesn't look into the proper situation. So it's a two-way thing, that both union and the management at times doesn't agree. But I think in this situation now, as it lies, there should be more cooperation, there should be more togetherness when they go on the negotiation table. To me, they get vexed too quick, they move up from the negotiation table. I think negotiation should be a longer process and fight to get what you want, but from both sides. But too often, one party, whether the union or the government, get up, leave the table, and you don't get away. Anyway.
Thank you very much, caller. Thank you very much indeed. Mr. Mason, let me come to you. You've been quiet for a bit. The whole issue of the gratuity and pension has led to industrial action, which led to teachers' payment being dumped. All right, public workers, yeah, their money's being dumped. As a result, government decided, look, we're not going to pay. Now, there's a school of thought that if you don't work, then you're not entitled to pay. My question is the government obligated to return the monies to the workers who took industrial action? But hold on,
I know they must return it.
Yeah, hold on, Andre.
Time is longer than twine.
Yeah, hold on. I'm coming to you.
Time is longer than twine.
We have a caller on the line. I'm coming to you. Good evening, caller. Hello.
Good evening.
Good evening, caller.
Yes, sir. Good evening to you all. Yes. There was a time when the Prime Minister spoke about science and technology. And if you stretch your mind back far enough, the Prime Minister spoke about the monitoring of productivity. What has happened to that? That has never been implemented. Or if it has been implemented, I would like to know how and when. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, caller. Thank you very much. I'm not sure if it was implemented. But so Andre, the question I asked before we went to the break is government obligated to pay back the monies to teachers?
Yes. Well, yes. Let me just finish what
Why
I started.
are they obligated?
The way it was done.
There are procedures in doing everything.
Yes.
But apart from procedures, let me just point out, and that's why I'm absolutely certain, whatever form the government may want to call it, the monies shall be returned, time is longer than twine, and that I'm absolutely certain, and I want to salute the rank and file members of the GUT, my brother, for totally rejecting these conditions that the government has placed on the question of the returning of the docked pay. Almost 2 years have passed, and whatever impact that it had on the workers, the problems that the government created for the children of the teachers and other public officers in Christmas of 2018 would be something that the teachers of this country, the public officers of this country, the workers of this country will remember. In 1989, but one of the biggest public sector strike that ever took place, all those who spoke bad about Prime Minister Blair's, he never touched teacher's salary.
Well, no, I understand that, but I'm
Yes.
saying the fact that the teachers did not work, was the government wrong in withholding
There's a school of
the pay?
thought. I have seen legal views, and that is why the matter is before the court. And it is in my view that one of the reasons why the government wanted teachers and other public officers to withdraw the matter from court, they know that they are on very slippery ground. I can't talk for the court, but I could interpret what is happening. I have seen views, legal views, out of Europe, etc., which has gone contrary to what the government has done and said what it has done.
No,
Right?
you have not answered my question satisfactorily, but I'm going to come back.
Well, I guess you're not satisfied.
No,
yet.
we'll take a break. We're going to take a break and we're going to come back.
Sure, no problem. The obligation.
Get high making money moves with the NLA's new Aces High Scratch game with 4 chances to win. Beat the dealer's card to win the prize shown. Reveal an A symbol. And just like that, you are automatically a winner. Scratch away to win the top prize of $10,000. Win easy with Scratch. Must be 18 or older to play.
It's new, innovative and classy, and it cut above the rest.
A pleasant evening to everyone. Welcome to the National Lotteries Authority's Lotto Draw number 3065 for today, Monday, February 24th, 2020. I am Anisha Charles. With me this evening is Ms. Carol Felix from PKF Accountants and Business Advisors, whose purpose is to ensure that this show is conducted in an accountable manner. The game balls with industry standards and in no way tampered with. This time it's your tickets at hand because you're about to play for a jackpot of $140,000. But first, your free ticket letter. Good luck. This evening's free ticket letter is check your tickets in the meantime. Your free ticket letter for this evening is B as in ball. Let's proceed for 5 random numbers. Good luck. Check your tickets. First number up is 30, the second 19, followed by 31, fourth 9, fifth and final is 14. So that's 30, 30, 19, 19, 31, 31, 099 and 14, 14. Your free ticket letter for this evening is B as in ball. Congratulations to all the winners of this evening's Lotto Draw. Lotto, play and win a lot. When you play all the games of the National Lotteries Authority, supports sports, culture and the nation building. Thanks for joining us. Have a wonderful evening.
I'm a winner. You are winner. We are winners. Winners.
It's the big one. Grenada. Imagine winning $25,000 and up to 6 times by scratching just one little ticket. Get your triple cash scratch tickets for a chance to live your best life. Win easy with Scratch. For just $3, match any of your numbers to any of the winning numbers and win the prize shown for that number. Reveal a money back symbol and win the prize instantly. Triple cash scratch in stores now. Must be 18 or older to play.
Cause I'm a winner. From the moment that I get up, I'm feeling right.
It's new, innovative and classy, and a cut above the rest. Your one-stop shop for bathtubs, kitchenette, customized doors and windows, and even a new paint job. We also sell quartz and solid surface countertops. At M&N Hardware, we offer best prices, excellent service, efficiency, and reliability. Visit us at Dusty Highway, Grandin, St. George, or call telephone number 440-6757. M&N Hardware, from foundation to roof. Let's build together.
Get Rubigas. Get cooking. Rubigas, clean, safe, and reliable LPG is the perfect solution for your commercial and everyday needs. For cooking at home or barbecuing, choose Rubigas LPG cylinders. Available in a variety of sizes from 20 to 100 pound cylinders. Rubigas LPG, clean, safe, reliable. Are you cooking with Rubigas?
Get Rubis, get going.
Coming to Grenada.
One of the most spectacular concert events in Christian music. It all happens 7 p.m. Saturday, March 21st at the National Cricket Stadium.
Featuring 5-time Grammy-nominated and 7-time Dove Award winner Karen Peck and New River.
From the American television show The Voice, Emily Ann Roberts.
From Canada, the amazing music from the Titans.
From the island of Jamaica, the talented and gifted Foster Triplets. Plus, the best of Grenadian gospel artists.
Again, this all happens 7 p.m. on Saturday, March 21st at the National Cricket Stadium with some of gospel music's finest. Karen Peck and New River.
Emily Ann Roberts.
The Titans.
The Foster Triplets.
And more.
Tickets sold at all ticket outlets. Proceeds go towards enhancing youth work in Grenada.
Grenada, 1795. One man with a sense of destiny.
Tonight we stand our ground. Tonight we stand on the side of history.
14,000 slaves with a dream and a promise. Julian Fedor, a Heritage Theatre production, written and directed by Chris DeRiggs, 28th and 29th March, 4th and 5th April at the Trade Center.
People was not made to live like this. It's like we have a code.
Julian Fedor, an action-packed historical drama.
I see blood falling from the sky. Filling up that mountain river, flowing from Belvedere Hills. I see blood.
4 big nights of theater, the play the nation has been waiting to see, with Samuel Gilvey, Lisa Grappy James, Robert White, Dale Devine, and other top-of-the-line acting talents. Opening Saturday, 28th March. Get your tickets now.
Welcome back. Beyond the Headlines and the Labour Movement, Mr. Mason, Mr. Andall, and Mr. Lewis, they're here with me. Gentlemen, I asked a question before the break. I wasn't quite satisfied, but in the interest of time, we're going to move on because there's quite a lot happening. Now, there's a feeling, gentlemen, that workers have lost faith in the unions. Your comments, Mr. Mason.
Well, I would disagree with that because the influence of the Grenada Trade Union Council over the years is chronicled, and it's empirical evidence that the union have done a lot. The question may be, have the union outdone itself in terms of how it has delivered and how much benefits it has brought to workers? Today, when a new worker goes to work, a young worker goes to work, and the worker is given $2,000, $15,000, $1,500, that doesn't come because the employer loves you, you know. That has come about because of the blood, sweat, and tears that our forefathers fought for, especially Uncle Gary. We can't forget Uncle Gary and what Uncle Gary did. So while we don't have the plantocracy, we now have what we call knowledge-based economy and so on. The union still has a very important part to play in terms of decent work, the aspect of equality, freedom, fairness. These are hallmarks that guides. And without the union being there, I was asking myself sometime, let's ban unions for one day.
Let me tell you, I'm not questioning whether or not we need unions. We need unions. I mean, there's no doubt about that. My concern is whether or not that confidence that the working class had in unions before, is it still there, or maybe the level? Now, on that, let me ask about the membership. How was it then as compared to now?
Yes. The point you're raising is a valid one, and it is generally discussed that probably in the past that workers showed more confidence in the union. And it's a fair statement to question that at this time. But we know that union consciousness is something that goes up and down sometimes. There are periods, I mean, in our history when we have the union being the vanguard and everybody is behind. And there are times because of certain happenings that kind of confidence might be lost to some extent. But there's some of it there, but I think more has to be done to restore that level of confidence as it was in the past. And this does not just happen in the morning, but it takes time. After some time, that level of confidence can be restored.
I mean, the people who say the only bit of militancy left in the union is when Andre has on his purple belt.
It's baby
Well, at least there is something, and it has a historical context. But we are grappling with a wider societal issue.
Which is?
Be it cricket, be it football, be it what we call general discipline. And we now have to find that ways and means of getting our younger population, our younger generation, more embedded in the bowels of the organization. You see, gone are the days, well, before I reach there, I think it is important to note that from 1983 to now, to 2020, that will be what, 37 years? Right. And therefore, there was a militancy coming out of that revolutionary period. So most of the workers over the past 37 years, 20-something years, who would have been adults at that time, or who would have been in secondary school or primary school, would have had that revolutionary zeal, that militancy, and therefore it was natural for us to just fit into.
But even before that, Uncle Gary period, there was that. It wasn't that revolutionary, but the militancy.
No, I'm not dissing Uncle Gary because Uncle Gary must be credited for this. I'm speaking about in our recent period.
Yes, no, I understand.
Right.
Yeah.
And therefore, the generation that we are dealing with now, given the challenges that we have had, we are struggling, not just the unions, in keeping the interests of our workers. Workers' time span is very short. The gadgets that we use today, so we have to find the creative ways and means. And that is why the Trades Union Council, together with the Caribbean Congress of Labor, together with Cipriani College out of Trinidad and Tobago, is embarked on programs to bring back the consciousness for the employers. It is absolutely important that you partner with the labor movement. The better trade unionists you have outside there, the more organized the unions are, the better your workforce will be. If you look around in Grenada today, the vast majority of our managers, our leaders at the workplaces, came up through the bowels of the labor movement.
Okay, hold that point there.
Sure.
We have a call on the line. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening, Godfrey and the panel. Godfrey, I want to go back a bit on the point you raised just before the break and which you chose not to pursue as it relates to government's right to or being obligated to give back the money to the to teachers. Of course, the government in November 2018 took the union and its membership to task for the action taken, right? The strike and so, being out from the schools and from work and so. Now, of course, that in the context of the members of the union, teachers union and public service having the right to industrial action, right? right? And these men on the panel, I think, could speak more substantively to that. Now, proceeding subsequent to that, government docked salaries, and the manner in which it was done was one unconstitutional, both in terms of the Grenada Constitution, but also the Education Act, which makes provision for the Public Service Commission to hire, to fire, to make advances, increments, and all of those kind of things. So when that was done, similarly, the union had a position, constitutional position, to challenge government as it relates to that aspect as well, the manner in which the how in which the salaries were docked, right? And so, I mean, in a certain way, government put itself in a sort of monkey pants with that. And of course, you have one teacher asking PSC, well, how is it my money was taken out? And PSC unable to speak to that. So you have a matter in court, and of course, there is strength in terms of the constitutional basis, and again, the Educational Act supporting the teacher in that particular way. So I think, really what government need to do in this is just, I mean, it was not the appropriate manner in which, or the proper way in which the money was taken out. And that should be treated in, because, I mean, a teacher could say, well, not only do I want my money back, but it's been a year. When I owe government for any tax, whether property have penalties, interest penalties and so forth could be added. I mean, this thing can become very complicated for government. So I think.
Okay, thank you very much, caller. And the caller did give some good points there. But you wanted to make a...
You want to go back to the issue of the militancy and so on. Today we have, our population is almost 60% youth, or under 35. And most of them are being offered contract work. Contract work is a scourge of the labor, scourge of labor. Now, every economy is driven by cash. The contract workers are denied that potential because of the tenure of employment. So they cannot go get a higher purchase, they cannot get a loan in credit union and in the banks. So here, they are limited. Their abilities are stymied. So that, in a sense, limits the union in terms of its efficacy, because had the union been allowed to have these workers in these bowels, which we are fighting for tooth and nail, because we think every worker has the right to join a union of his choice, because the Constitution says that. But what is being done is that they are being deliberately denied the opportunity to earn a decent living and to be able to make themselves gainfully employed. So that, in a sense, gives us a challenge as trade unionists to how do we...
Well, you need to step up your militancy and get things going. But we have a caller on the line. Let's go to the telephone. Caller, good evening.
Good night.
Yes, sir.
Good night to the panelists.
Good night. Yes.
I heard one of the panelists made a statement that money was not, in 1989, under the Blaze administration, money wasn't deducted from public officers or teachers, as the case may be. But I am a worker, and I could recall that money was deducted from my salary, and up to now, I've never received it. I heard that the matter went to court, and that was many years ago. And I think we had to, history is there. That was done. Under the Blaze administration, money was deducted from workers' salary for going on strike. And that's a fact. Thank you.
Thank you very much, caller. Okay, I want to move quickly. Mr. Andall, there was an issue that came up as it relates to teachers having other jobs.
Oh, well...
What if a teacher decides he wants to have let's say, a little poultry farm at his home or to do something? What does the law speak to that? What?
Well, there's
he's smiling.
I smile because when you say poultry farm, you actually call my name.
Oh, so you have a poultry farm?
Yes, I am in the poultry business.
Okay.
There's this archaic provisions that were there since colonial times that restricted public officers from agricultural and other activities. And I think we've gone past that. And in the teacher's case, unfortunately, when we said that work to rule was in effect on the 6th of January, by the 8th of January, we saw a circular come into schools saying that, well, almost like it had the name on it, that you shouldn't be involved in these other activities and you have to get permission and so.
They didn't say poultry, no?
Yeah. It's unfortunate that we're going back there because the provisions of the Education Act adequately deals, and it was unfortunate that that draconian legislation from the 1950s was revisited in these modern times, because the people who gave us those rules have gone way beyond that, and persons are able, even in the public service, to do many other things. And I think it was openly, the government has openly encouraged persons to invest and do activities on their own, because the harsh reality is that our salaries are so meager that we have to do other things in order to get cure for our lean purse.
Okay, but I mean, whatever you do should not.
Yeah, you shouldn't interfere with your usefulness as a public officer. So you should not be taking time away from work to do that other business, but you can have it.
Okay.
Based on our Education Act, there are provisions there that gives you some restrictions, but at least you can be engaged once it doesn't impede on your usefulness as a public officer, as a teacher.
You know, you can make a panquai.
Yes, people have to.
Let's go back to the telephone. Good evening, caller.
Yes, good evening.
How are you?
Not bad. I have a comment to make about the workers and employers. Employers are denying workers to progress as a whole, and it has been going around the world. But it's time that the unions stand up and get employers to actually ban the workers that want to work temporary.
The contract workers,
it's not helping anybody young coming into work. And the people who are doing this part-time work, they are going back to work with a pension. And the youth have no chance of accumulating to have a house of their own. I think it's something that the union should try and get government to, if not ban, but restrict this part-time workers.
Thank you, caller. Thank you very much, indeed. Mr. Mason, quickly.
To add to the point that the caller made, do you know, Godfrey, there are security guards who are working in odd posts where there are no toilets available?
Yeah, but what is the union doing
no
about
drinking water?
What is the union doing about it?
There are plant operators who are working without the use of a lavatory right now.
Where is the
in
union?
this present period?
Where's the unions?
Okay, any security guards who are unionized by our union or TAWU, any union, these matters will be addressed. However, the majority of security guards are not unionized.
But quickly, I'm sorry here.
Sure.
But what about labor laws?
Yes, so that's where I'm coming.
Labor laws
so that's where I'm coming. That's where I'm coming. That's where I'm coming. And these are some of the things that we are trying to address in the amendments to the labor code. But even where you have laws, not just on labor matters, there's a question of enforcement. And therefore, we are making this appeal to the government to beef up the staff in the Ministry of Labor. Yes, they have gotten 2 additional staff or 3 additional staff, but that's not enough. We need labor officers who can go to the ununionized workplaces and investigate the conditions that are there. Yes?
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's take our final call. Good evening, caller.
Yes, good evening.
Hello.
Yes, good evening.
All right. So we need to move on. We only have a short time remaining. Yes. Yeah. Go ahead.
We want to bring to the attention of our members and the public, as we said in the beginning, this is the 65th anniversary of the founding of the Grenada Trades Union Council. And we will be having a week of activity from March 8th to March 13th. As a matter of fact, the TEC was founded on March 13th. So what we'll be doing is that there will be 1 week of training. The Cipriani Labour College will be sending facilitators to Grenada to train the leaders of the TUC, the leaders of the executive of the different unions, and shop stewards and rank and files, as part of our training of our leaders. We'll also be doing a March 13th cruise on March 13th aboard the Rum Runner, and we are encouraging all of our members and the general public to come out and support and celebrate. Let us do it in one. Celebrate the anniversary of the Grenada Revolution, the anniversary of the founding of the TUC, right, with a Revo cruise, a March 13th cruise, a Labour cruise. All the different parties. This is about the workers. This is about progress.
I will not comment on that.
Yes. Let us all come out there on March 13th. It's $45 for a ticket. It is, you'll get a barbecue and a roll.
Andrew, that's advertising. I want a quick question, because we're going closer to time. The issue of the contract workers and the problems that the union is facing as it relates to the militancy, because I want to go back to it. I think this is very important. Do you think that the politics in the country has some kind of effect on that, or is interfering with the union's ability to be militant? Because let's face it, we don't see union leaders lying in front of trucks anymore. What's happening? Andre, I don't see you lying in front of trucks. Mason, what's going on?
Well, if there is need to lie in front of a truck or to face any of the challenges, we shall do so. There's no prescription as to what must be done. Circumstances will be taken on board. But obviously, the politics of the day would have its impact. I mean, there's no doubt that we have become very political, more so over the last few years. But what we have demonstrated in the labor movement, that whether you have a green card or a yellow card, it cannot pay for your groceries. And the advice and the position of the labor movement is that support your party. I want to encourage everyone, support your political party. Stand firm for your political party. But make that distinction between that and industrial and economic matters.
Bread and butter.
Bread and butter.
Bread and butter.
And matters of bread and butter. Because when the government docked public servants' pay, they didn't just take NDC pay, no. They took NNP. As a matter of fact, there might have been probably more NNP people impacted. If you take on the basis that the NNP got more people in the vote, it may be a correct assumption to say that probably there are more employed people as NNP. And by extension of that reasoning, NNP crushed their own supporters. And therefore it is important to bear that in mind. And they did that. They did that for one reason only, to try to crush the will of the working class. This didn't happen in isolation, you know. The same government went to court on a weekend and take out an injunction against the labor movement to stop us from striking. This was done to crush the labor movement. In this period, whatever advice that the government get at that time was designed to crush us. But they will not crush the will of the working people.
But is the union doing enough to sensitize?
No, a lot more could be done.
Its members to get them to understand, look, this is not about a party issue, it's about
a lot
your
more
life.
Needs to be done. I'm agreeing, a lot more needs to be done. But we are building slowly. Part of the education, we are building slowly, Godfrey. And that is what we are doing. And that is what programs like this will do. That is what our shop stewards, as we organize our shop stewards, will do.
No, we don't take it.
Right? Okay? They will not crush the will of, because the working class is bigger than any individual.
Okay, quickly.
Yes, as the president made the point, the government's programmatic platform right now is to see the end of the public workers union, the public sector union. Because if you check on how they have decided with the attrition program, to every 10 workers who retire, they will take 3. So the net loss to the union is 7, whether teachers or whether public officers, public workers. The net loss in the minimum is 7, but it could be 10. So there's a concerted effort to ensure the butchering, the slaughtering of the public sector workers.
But I don't understand it, because there are some people, you hear it wrong, who claim that the union has sold out to government. I mean, I'm sure you've heard statements like that.
If they were sold out, teachers would have been back to normal.
Yeah.
But the teacher has stood resolutely.
Even with that, there seems to be a rift between teachers. Some people, and that takes me to the question of intercall. Where are we? Are we having intercall or not?
Well, the intercall is not managed by the Grenada Union of Teachers. The Grenada Union of Teachers is responsible for National Primary School Sports. That is organized by the union. And
is that happening?
No, there's no National Primary School Sports this year.
Okay.
The intercall is a matter for the Grenada Association of Principals of Secondary Schools, and they're launching the intercall, sadly, on the day that we were having the mass meeting at GBSS. An intercall was launched. We have a concern in regards to how it will be manned, and so because teachers, if this matter is not resolved, they seem to be heading towards a head-on collision, which will be rather unfortunate. But we believe that good sense will prevail, that the government would see the need to just end the industrial impasse. I think it's in the best interest of all that this matter could be ended, and there is only one way that it can be ended. And let us get our education system back to normal.
But aren't the principals part of your membership?
They are members, but the thing with unions, in the early days of unions, when you look back at our history from the 1870s and so, the action would be taken against them, physical action and so. That does no longer obtain, you know. You support a union, support a cause on your freedom of your conscience. You are free to support or not support. And they have chosen what they have chosen, and we have to respect their choice. Because although they are members of our organization, the Principals Association has its own autonomy. It's an independent organization, and they maybe view things differently.
What would happen, quickly, what would happen, and we're coming to closing remarks, what would happen if some of your members decides, look, we're going to work along with the Principal Association to have intercall, and some decides, no, what happens in a case like that?
Well, in cases like that, there's nothing we can do about it. We can only say what the union position is. Members are free to exercise their choice.
Okay.
And we have to respect that.
All right. Gentlemen, it's a pity, but that's all the time we have. Let's get some closing comments. Let's start with you.
Yeah, sure. Permit me just to identify 3. We want to extend that from TAWU and the wider Grenadian working people. Condolences to the management of staff of Spice Island Inn. Our union represents the workers there. And we would like to see Spice Island Inn remain in the hands of locals. We are aware, as Sir Royston had told us, that he had flatly refused pressure to sell out the hotel. And I know it's a sad time, but we want to extend our sympathy to them and make that thing. We also want to reach out to a former employee of GBN, Comrade Michael Bascom of GBN, on the tragic incident that has happened to his daughter. He is also a member of TAWU, and we have had good days in terms of our struggle. So we want to reach out to him and ask him to stay strong. And also on a past member of GBN who had given close to 30 years of service, Comrade Kennedy Bowen, to his family, we extend our deepest sympathy and ask it to stay strong. The GBN family, stay strong. Finally, in closing, we want to make an appeal to the government to ensure that they honor the statement of February 1st, 2020 on the coronavirus, in terms of quarantining, in terms of ensuring that people who have a particular travel history are not allowed into the country, and to ensure that these things have been done because our members are in the forefront at the different borders. It is also important to be upfront with the population. If there is any indication of what may appear to be trying to find different ways of handling issues, it leads to mistrust. And in this period, we cannot afford that. The workers and people of this country are asking, and we are all on board in trying to ensure that we manage ourselves properly, but enforce the decisions that you have taken relative to the health and well-being of our people.
Mr. Mason, quickly, 30 seconds.
We call on all our members of the working class, to rally around your union. We are in this together, and of course, it's a symbiotic relationship. Without the employer, you will not have workers. Without the workers, you won't have any union. So we cherish that relationship, and we are aspiring to ensure that as the Trade Union Council grows from strength to strength, we'll be able to unite, we'll be able to press together more and more as we go forward.
Mr. Andall, closing.
Well, as union leaders, we have a tremendous task ahead to educate, re-educate, and to restore the level of confidence in unions that existed before. It's no easy task, but it's attainable, and once we remain committed to educating and being truthful and honest with our members, I think we can attain that.
Thank you very much. Gentlemen, I want to thank you very much for taking time off to, and of course accepting our invitation to be on Beyond the Headlines this evening. We look forward to having you all again, and I just want to encourage you to keep up your struggle as union leaders, rally with your members, and try to bring as much benefits for them as possible, or for us as possible. I'm also a union member. So thank you once again. Of course I am. Yes, of course, definitely. Thank you again. We also want to thank our viewers on GBN TV, on Facebook, and also our listeners on K105. Thank you very much for tuning in. Join us next Monday for another edition of Beyond the Headlines.
Pharmacy offers both wholesale and retail pharmaceutical and over-the-counter products. We have the most competitive and affordable prices. We are the agents for Vit Plus multivitamin for healthy everyday life.